Ladies and gentlemen, Rocky fam, we are back with another episode of Food Plot Chronicles. God, I love Food Plot Chronicles. There's just something about doing the prep work, sowing the seed, watching the plants grow, animals come in and eat the plants, and then we get to shoot the animals. There's really not much better than that. Today, we're going on a tour with Dino. We're gonna check out how the corn and beans are growing. We're gonna see how well the fence is keeping out the deer, and we're gonna shuffle some cameras around so that we can start taking inventory on the big bucks. There's no time, let's get to work. What's up, Tag and Rag Nation? So today, just wanted to run up to camp and show you guys a little bit of the progress and digress of our food plots, at least of our spring food plots. And a lot of things look good, some of the things don't look great, but we've learned a lot as we do every year. And I know this is kind of a normal year because what we always battle is that right there. And we have gotten a ton of rain in the last 2 weeks, and honestly it's a little bit too much, but it looks like the week after this weekend, it looks like the next 8 to 10 days look relatively dry, so that's good. This is a bean plot. We always have trouble with it if you follow along with deer pressure and groundhog pressure. Well, we finally got this electric fence tuned in and right. We got it in at the right time. It was working at the right time. And I actually have to adjust it because something's bumping into it. It's a little saggy, but look at the beans in the field and look at them out of the field. I'm actually surprised that they're still growing in some spots outside the fence. And this left side looks a little bit weaker. And I know that's because of a groundhog issue that I think is actually still going on. But aside from a few bare spots, this field just popped really hard in the last week and a half. It looks really good, and it's got a month and a half to grow still. This should be a lush green bean field. If everything works out, we don't get too much water, and everything finishes out strong, it should be a very good lush bean field. So that's going to be a huge bonus for this redneck blind right there. Look. Something sat on our battery box and took a dump. Pretty much said, screw you. Oops. Screw you guys. I'm gonna put my bean bag on your drum set. Well, this is why you check your fields out every so frequently. Got a good amount of deer track right here. But you can tell, look at this fence. This inside wire is now around the outside post, so something got jammed up in here and freaked out a little bit. That's what did a lot of the well, when they actually break it, now you gotta go around to the energizer area of the fence where the ends of the fence are, and you gotta loosen them so that you can have slack to tie it, and then you gotta go back and retighten her up. They had this thing all busted up, but it's been working, and it wouldn't work if we didn't check on it, because this is the second or third time. Actually, I think it's the third time I've repaired this fence. I am observing that these beans, they are a little on the light green side. So that's telling me something. They're lacking something. I want to say it's nitrogen. They're lacking something. So, or it might be too much water, because that has happened, but I gotta find out what that is, because they're definitely lacking something. They look okay, and we can definitely get them whatever they need. Just gotta find that out, and gotta listen to your plants. They're talking to you. Gotta listen. We planted Eagle Seed Multi-Max blends soybeans, and they produce more leaves. And from what I'm observing, that's helped a ton this year, because on previous years, there's no way we would have had any beans whatsoever growing outside of this fence. And if you can see the structure of the leaves growing out here, you can tell that it just sprouts more leaves. And maybe it's just helped out with the amount of pressure we get from browsing in this particular field. So it might give these outside beans a chance to get up and go, but it's definitely helped the inside of the fence beans grow. I mean, it's crazy. I can definitely see a difference in the amount of leaves sprouting out. Just more tonnage, more food, and unfortunately more rain. So I was checking plots yesterday. We checked the one out and then got cut short. Got cut short on account of nasty thunderstorm. So I had to stop, and I'm up here today checking the other one. I mean, we just got pounded with rain again last night. Look at this field. I mean, this is one of the more wet spots, I would say, but we're just underwater right now. I mean, it rained, it downpoured up until about 2 hours ago. It looks like the rest of the afternoon, we got some sunshine. We got 85-degree temp tomorrow and sunshine, and a chance of rain again in a couple of days, but we need the warm sunshine to dry these fields out. But these beans in here are looking absolutely incredible. Now, what I did just hear is that multi-max blend from Eagle Seed, it grows a little bit slower, and I'm noticing that with these beans, these are just regular ag beans, compared to that, is they're much taller. They're still inside the fence. I mean, these things are 1.5 feet tall already. So they look absolutely awesome. But it's cool to see how the different two blends grow, because these ones are definitely a little bit taller. That doesn't necessarily mean, you know, we're more soybeans or anything. You can have a shorter bean and get a bigger, more pods out of it, I should say. Wow, it is wet. Like I said, these beans in the fence, 1.5 feet, 1 foot tall, and we still got bean growth on the outside, but you can see they're less than half the size of the ones in the fence. So again, with all the work it is, it's worth it. I mean, it's a one-time expense really to buy the fence, and then you could have it for years. As long as you take care of the wire, it'll take care of you. Because as you can see, yeah, these beans, you can see heavy browse. I can just see the clipped off everywhere, but they're still growing, and they're a little lighter out here, because once those deer clip the first 2 leaves when they're first starting to grow, the whole plant is dead. So you can just see a little bit lighter beans in here. Look amazing inside the fence. And then check out the corn behind me. The corn looks excellent, it really does. Sprayed this about 10 days ago. Put some nitrogen in the spray, Roundup. Almost, it looks like maybe in a couple weeks we might have to do it again, but some of the stuff that I just barely misted looks a little green still, but it's still dying. But that nitrogen did a huge number for our corn. I mean, it's almost chest high in a couple spots, waist high in a lot. Here in the second week of July, we got plenty of time for this stuff to shoot up and go. So it's gonna love this heat tomorrow. For the next few days, actually, it's gonna love the heat. And this stuff should really take off once this field dries out a little bit. You can see the low spot in the field right there. It dips down, the corn starts to get light green and yellow on the bottom. And I'm just realizing that that's just too much water. I mean, a lot of these crops that are just sitting in water, it's just too much. So got to get this field drained out, let it dry out a little bit. We've gotten like 10 inches of rain in the last 2 weeks, I think. So these things have gotten plenty to drink. They just need heat, dry out a little bit, and this stuff's going to take off. One thing we do have to do here is we got some volunteer corn that was still in the drill that's coming up throughout the whole plot, but for some reason it came up heavy on this side. Well, wherever the corn is touching the wire, we got to go ahead and chop the corn down and clear it away from the fence. Otherwise it just shorts the fence. And actually the lower part of the fence some of the beans are starting to get up to that point too. So if you want your fence to have full power, you really gotta cut that stuff down, or it just can't come in contact with the fence because it'll short it out. And you can see a lot of spots where it's rubbing. You know, the leaves of the corn or whatever it is all brown and fried out. This is the whole weakest side of the field. And again, most deer pressure on this side, and we got a huge groundhog hole right in the middle here, and we've sat on him numerous times and we have not been able to get to neutralize the groundhog that's in that hole. And there's probably more than one, but they did a number. As you can see, it's bare in the middle of the fence, right in the center of the field, and that's because of a groundhog. So got a little gist of how our 2 or 3 main food plots here are progressing. The corn looks great. The beans actually look pretty good too. We're noticing the difference between the Multi-Max Eagle Seed beans and just the regular ag beans. The ag beans are a little bit taller, Multi-Max a little bit shorter, more leaf. So it'll be interesting to see how those play out and how they pot out as the summer progresses. But the beans look good. The fence has been a huge help. It's actually been our savior. It's just been about keeping the fence up and alive, because the deer definitely bump into it. They abuse it pretty good. But if you can keep it going and keep checking it, it's showed and proven with how much deer pressure that we get to work in these types of areas. So that's been a huge bonus. We're just looking for a little bit of dry, hot weather to really kick these things off, because it's been super wet, and we can tell that in spots, especially the low spots of the fields, that some of the beans are a light color green, and so is the corn. So we'll be thankful for the next couple days of hot, dry weather, and we got a lot of work to do in the next coming weeks to figure out these fall food plots. Our borderline, it's coming up, but once again, we're battling weeds. So I think that with, you know, relatively, basically 2 more months of growing, I think we'll still get some good cover. It should shoot up through the weeds and the other grasses, and we'll get enough to have it accomplish what we want to accomplish. But man, the weeds are tough with the borderline. But beans and corn look good so far. Hopefully everything stays going in the right direction. Thank y'all for watching this little food plot roundabout update, and we'll be back probably this weekend because we got a lot more work to do to start prepping for fall food plots. Thank you all once again for watching this week's episode of Food Plot Chronicles. We are rounding the corner of the summertime food plot preparation. Next episode, we will be preparing the ground for our fall food plots. Brassicas, turnips, and we're actually going to be testing a new blend from Big Time. As always, if you have any questions, any comments, please drop a line in the comments section below, and we will see y'all right here next time on Food Plot Chronicles.